Hi, I'm Libra. Welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your May 2021 tarot reading. Thanks to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic cross spread as always. I also pulled an Oracle card and a Mudra card for you guys, but we're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus will be as far as that goes. So we'll get started with that. Okay, so we have the Sun. And the Sun's going to spend most of May in Taurus, and then it'll move on into Gemini, so your 8th and 9th house. We have Aries, which is your opposite sign, so there could be some focus on relationships and partnerships for you guys this month. Technically, at the time I'm recording this, we're still in Aries season as well, so there's that. And we have 12, the 12th house, so for you guys, that's Virgo. Nothing really going on there, astrologically speaking, but we'll keep that in mind. Alright, so main situation position, we have the 9 of Wands. So this is actually Sagittarius energy, which for you guys is your 3rd house of communication. So this could just be saying that you might feel like you're in an impasse with someone around the situation with communication. You know, you might feel like both sides might have expressed their viewpoints on a situation, but you might feel like they're, you know, either you or they might not be being heard clearly. And you just might be feeling like you're at a bit of a loss, right? You know, you might feel like this is something, a topic that's come up between you and someone else multiple times, and you feel like no matter what, the point never seems to come across clearly, right? And I feel like for a lot of you, this could just be saying that there could have been a lot of communication around whatever this topic is already, and that's where the frustration comes in, you know? So you could be wondering, okay, is it even worth it to continue to try to work something out in this situation, or just to move on? And I will say, I feel like there's a feeling of vulnerability here as well. You know, because in one of my other decks, they actually have a bear in the background, and it's almost like, you know, obviously if you see a bear, you wouldn't think that those wands standing up will be enough to protect you from it, right? So there's a feeling of vulnerability there I'm getting from this as well. But yeah, that's pretty much what I get there. All right, in the challenger obstacle position, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So again, this is Virgo energy, and we were saying how we see the 12th house theme come up for you guys. So this could just be saying that the difficulty could be that you're not seeing how far ahead you are in the situation, you know. So maybe in the mundane conversations that are being had, you might be getting a bit more of a pessimistic vibe around how things are actually going versus how they really are. And that could just be because things are taking longer than you'd hoped, right? So going back to the fact that this is Sagittarius energy, this is where a little bit of fixed energy blends in with Sagittarius. And of course, Sagittarius don't like to feel like they're stuck in anything, right? So that could be part of the feeling there. It could just be that, you know, you have to you have to trust that you're further along than you think you are, right? Because another thing that stands out to me with that nine of wands is it's like he's holding on tightly to that one wand, right? But then there are 8 behind him. So it's almost like he feels like that's all he has to stand on, not realizing that he's put in a lot of work already, right? Like, okay, you already have 8 wands there. You have the 9th one in your hand, but you're not focused on that, you know, so just keep building. So I feel like that's what this is primarily saying here. You know, you could just be lacking a little bit of faith that whatever this is that you're working toward will be stabilized, but I feel like this is saying it will, it's just taking longer than you'd hope. Alright, in the foundation position, we have the 2 of Wands. So I could see this playing out a couple different ways. For one, this is Aries energy, which again, we did see that as a point of focus for you guys with the dice, but on the one hand, this could be saying that this is something that you might have started, right? Started out fairly fresh, and you might have been making progress immediately with it, right? Because we see going from the 2 to the 9, that's pretty quick, right? But then you might have hit a brick wall. So you know how that goes. You know, you might be making steady, continuous, fast progress. All of a sudden, you seem to hit a plateau, and you're like, uh-oh, what's going on here, right? So you might be questioning it all together, like, okay, was this the right path for me, or what's going on here? You know, so there could be some doubt around that. For others of you, this could just be saying that regarding this situation, because you are at that 9 of Wands and you might feel like things are a bit stuck and you're not sure if they're going to continue to grow, you could be considering something new altogether. So I could see that playing out either way. But yeah, looks like there's at least in your mind you have a thought towards something new. All right, in the past position, we have the Three of Swords, which is Libra energy, Three of Wands, which is Aries energy again, and the Two of Swords, which is more Libra energy. So we see two of your energies and Aries energy sandwiched in between. So this is interesting here too. Now, for some of you, this could just be saying that there might have been some disappointment, some kind of heartbreak, right? And a part of you might have just been waiting for it to kind of fix itself, right? Like, okay, you know what? Yes, this was a bad situation. I don't like the way things worked out, but you know what? I'll give it some time. Things will work out fine, right? And maybe you waited in that state for quite some time. Again, seeing that Knight of Pentacles also with the yellow, maybe things weren't working out the way you'd hoped. And then you went back to internalizing, like, okay, what's going on here, right? Like the approach that I took to just, you know what, let me wait it out and let the things resolve themselves hasn't necessarily worked. So you might feel like you're backtracking a little bit because you're like, okay, well, what do I need to do here, right? So that could be kind of what you guys are going through. And all right, so since this is showing the Libra Aries axis, which shows that this could be relating to a relationship. Let me just give you a super generic example of how that could work out, right? So you go through a toxic relationship with someone where you might have felt like you were the one doing all the giving, right? And they were just taking. So you finally leave the connection and you say, you know what? That was ridiculous. I deserve way better, right? Which could totally be true. But so you kind of dig your feet in. So it's like you have that boundary up, like, okay, nope, I'm not going through that type of situation again. I deserve someone far better, right? But at the same time, you're kind of just expecting it all to fall into your lap. And then where that could create a negative dynamic is anyone who comes your way, you're almost creating that same dynamic again, but from the opposite side, right? Because if you were the giver in this situation, it led to your heartbreak because they were taking. But now you're in that stance like, nope, I deserve the best, right? But you're expecting that from someone brand new who didn't do anything regarding this situation. Now you're creating that dynamic, maybe not in as intensive a way, but a similar dynamic to where the give and take is way off with the connection, and you could be like, okay, well, that isn't working either, right? So some of you guys could have been processing that. I feel like that's for a smaller percentage of you, but like I said, since we did see the Aries and the Libra axis there, I wanted to mention like a relationship scenario. All right, in the present, we have the Sun in reverse, Temperance in reverse, King of Pentacles in reverse, and Five of Pentacles in reverse. So, interesting combination of cards here. And, to see the Sun in reverse, you're like, uh-oh, that's, you'd much rather see that in the upright, right? Same thing with Temperance, King of Pentacles. I mean, all these, you're like, oh, I'd rather see these in the upright. But then it ends with the Five of Pentacles, which you actually would not rather see in the upright. So, however weird it sounds, this is what I'm kind of feeling here. I feel like this is a situation where, with the Sun card and the Temperance card being in reverse, could just be saying that, on the one hand, you might have had a very light and almost maybe naive attitude towards something, right? Which is fine. But at the same time, you were feeling like, okay, well, it's not necessarily bringing you the balance you were hoping for, right? And you might have felt like, you weren't as far ahead as you wanted to be. But realizing all right, how do I want to say this? It's like you come to that realization that, okay, no, I'm not at the King of Pentacles level that I want to be at, right? We do see the Knight of Pentacles there. But you know what? At the same time, I'm not at the Five of Pentacles. So it's almost like taking that gratitude for where you're at, So to me, this is, again, going back to energy I mentioned there, but this could be more in the financial sense or any area of life, quite frankly, where you might have had this super naive, oh, yes, I deserve all the best things, right? Which is a good mentality to have. But when those things weren't coming your way, there could have been some disappointment on your part. But now I feel like you're realizing that, you know what? Yeah, okay, maybe I'm not at the King of Pentacles level, but you know what? I'm not at the Five of Pentacles level either. So yes, things could be better, right? Maybe you're at the Knight stage right now. You want to be at the King stage, but you know what? I'm pretty far removed from the Five of Pentacles too. So you know what? Maybe things aren't as bad as I thought, right? So it could just be one of those things where you're just finding gratitude in unexpected places. So that's what I'm seeing there. All right. And in the near future position, we have the Five of Wands, which is Leo energy, the Devil, which is Capricorn energy, King of Cups, which is Scorpio energy, Queen of Swords, which is you guys, and the Fool in reverse. So again, a ton of cards. Let's see what we could get from this one. So with the Five of Wands, this could represent, the first term that came to mind when I saw this was the term too many cooks in the kitchen, right? So maybe whatever this is you're working on, you might feel like there's too many viewpoints going on. So that could be part of the issue, right? Where everyone has their own idea on how something should be done. So for some of you, this could definitely be in the workplace because throughout May, we're going to have Mars in your 10th house of career and social status. Jupiter will be moving into Pisces, which is your 6th house of work, daily routine. So it could definitely be in that type of arena where you're having a situation, or possibly even with friendships or the groups you associate with. But I feel like this is saying there's a lot of different viewpoints on a situation, right? And as a result of that, you could just be feeling stuck, right? Like, okay, there's no progress being made. You might feel like you're alone on an island in a situation where you feel like whatever ideas you have, you feel like they're not being heard, right? Well, with the Queen of Swords, it's like kind of digging your feet into, like, you know what? I've said my piece, right? So there could be that part of you that wants that balance, but at the same time, you're not necessarily going to back off of your position. So it sounds kind of weird, but that's kind of what I'm picking up on there. And with the Fool in reverse, it says, you're not necessarily willing to scrap the idea altogether, but I feel like this is you just saying, okay, well, obviously there's tons of different viewpoints on something, right? Whatever it is. Like I said, it could definitely be around your work environment. Feeling like you're alone in a situation here, but like, you know what? Okay, if we just work toward this, we could get some balance, right? And that's kind of the approach that you're taking right now. See what else comes to mind with this. Yeah, for the majority of you, I do feel like this is more of a financial thing, given that we see the King of Cups there, which for you guys is your 2nd house of finances. At the time I'm recording this, we haven't had that full moon yet, but the full moon in Scorpio could actually be part of what causes all this to come up for you. But yeah, it's pretty much what I'm getting with that. All right, in the position of your influence on the situation, we have the King of Wands in reverse. So this is Leo energy here again. So again, I feel like this could definitely be around groups you're dealing with, possibly in your work environment as well. I feel like it's less likely in a one-to-one relationship, but that's a possibility too. But primarily what I'm getting with this is you might have found yourselves in a leadership role in a way, like, not even like in a leadership role. All right, so let's say this is a group of friends and everyone's fighting each other, right? And they come to you to solve the issue, right? You're like, okay, you know what? Let's go to Libra. They'll help us resolve the issue. And this could be you guys kind of saying, you know what? No, like, I'm out. You guys figure this out on your own. I feel like this is you guys kind of pulling your energy back in a way and saying, you know what? I'm not even going to go there. Or again, going back to what I was saying earlier for some of you too, right? Like maybe you had these goals and you figure, oh, I should be at the King of Pentacles level, right? But now coming to that realization, okay, right, I'm not there yet. I'm at the Knight level, maybe, right? But you know what? Could definitely be worse. I'm just going to keep moving forward, have the gratitude for where I'm at in this moment. And with this in reverse, it's kind of saying, if you had that desire, right? Like, oh, I want to reach this goal, maybe you're realizing that your motives behind it weren't as pure as maybe you thought in the past. So maybe you're kind of scrapping the idea, like, you know what? I don't even need to be seen as the best or whatever. I'm just going to do my thing and let that pressure go. So that's what I'm seeing there. In the environment position, we have the 7 of Cups. So yeah, definitely just say that this is just your environment in general. Everyone's confused, right? Everyone's running around like, losing their minds, and you're just like, you know what? I can't even get involved in all this, kind of withdrawing from all that. But for somebody, this could be the way you're seeing things too, right? So maybe you're part of that group that is confused, but maybe in some way where everyone's determined to play out a role, like, okay, we have to solve this immediately. You could just be kind of letting go and letting the universe handle it a little bit more, right? Just having a little bit more faith that, you know what, things will work themselves out. And that could be partially due to the fact that you guys are going to have Mercury in Gemini for a good chunk of May, which is your 9th house, so you could be seeing the big picture around the situation. And it's actually going to go retrograde toward the very end of May, but it's going to be in shadow from around mid-May. So you might be feeling that energy bubbling up too, like, you know what? If we push too hard right now, we're just going to end up having to redo it soon anyway. So you could just be taking a bit more of a laid back approach toward the situation and letting everyone else drive themselves crazy while you're just kind of conserving your energy for the time being. All right. In the hopes or fears position, we have the 9 of Pentacles, which is Virgo energy, and the Hermit, which is also Virgo energy. So again, we did see the 12th house theme come up for you guys and the dice. So yeah, again, I feel like this is your desire for that contentment, right? Just feeling content, like you have what you need and being happy with that. And with the Hermit showing up underneath it, it's like you're really just racking your brain on how to get there, right? So I feel like that's really it. You have a vision for where you want to be. You're trying to figure out how you're going to put it into place. Maybe not taking action on it right now, but that could be just where a lot of your focus is, mentally speaking. And for some of you, if this is around a work environment too, right, you could be weighing the pros and cons of continuing to work in an environment where, like I was saying, the too many cooks in the kitchen idea, right, where maybe it's a bit overwhelming. So you're like, okay, I could keep doing the 6 of Pentacles thing where there's a collaborative effort, or I could go more of a solo route. Because to me, what stands out, she's, if I can get to focus, she's looking at the bird there, which to me represents a little bit of freedom, right? So there's less pentacles going with the route with more freedom, but at the same time, that could be what you're weighing. Like, okay, yes, maybe I get further ahead overall with a collaborative effort, but if I go solo, I'd have more freedom. I don't have to stress myself out when people are butting heads with me, right? So that could be something that you're looking at too. All right, and in the outcome position, we have the 3 of Pentacles. So this is actually Capricorn energy here, and I feel like this is saying for the majority of you, you're finally going to find that zone, right? Where, to me, I view this as a mixture of Saturn and Venus energy, but in a productive, positive way, which is to say the Saturn energy is lending to the long-term stability of something, right? Making sure it's built the right way. And the Venusian element is lending itself to it being something that you're pleased with in the long run, right? You're going to be happy with the results. So maybe there's the realization that, okay, yep, this might take a lot of commitment to get it done, but at the end, I know I'm going to be happy with the end result, and then putting in the work toward that. So that's what I see there. And bottom of the deck, we have the Empress. So, kind of makes sense as far as given that we'll be in Taurus season for most of May. That's a Venusian energy. You guys are also ruled by Venus. So could just be the mode you're in. Like I said, I feel like this is more of a feeling of detachment more than anything, as far as saying, okay, you know what, just being happy with where you're at in the moment, not pushing things too far. And with the Hangman beneath that, definitely seems to align with that message too. All right, moving on to the Oracle card. You guys got By the Book. There's the artwork, and the number is 11. So your Major Arcana card is also 11, so this could definitely be more of a reading, just more about you guys than anything, as opposed to, relationships with others and things like that. But we'll see what it says. Under essential meanings, it says abiding by social rules, conformity, respecting cultural or family customs, universal laws. The Oracle's message: the universe works within a structure of divine laws and principles that provides a framework for human experience and evolution. The law of abundance, the law of prayer, the law of karma, the law of attraction, the law of thought, the law of compensation, and the law of nature are only a few that are known. These principles create perfect order and operate with a kind of precision beyond human understanding. Every revolution has its place in universal law. Human beings, in turn, have their own laws and customs that vary from culture to culture and family to family. Laws keep social order and govern behavior, reflecting an instinctive understanding that harmony is important. This is the time to learn these laws and conform to them, rather than being the rebel and flouting them. When this card appears, submit to structure and follow the rules, even if they seem to make no sense. Release resistance, for universal laws will correct any disharmony. Open your eyes to those laws, and it will be easier to go by the book at this time. So an interesting message there, and the primary thing that I got from that was feeling this feeling that I mentioned here of almost like acceptance, right? Where, okay, maybe I'm not where I want to be right now, but I'm a lot better off than I could be, right? I've gotten further along than maybe I realized, even though I'm not where I ultimately want to be, and just coming from that position of acceptance and that helping the energy be a bit lighter for you guys. The relationship message says getting along with others entails understanding and respecting who they have become as a result of their environment, culture, and experience. Find the middle ground that allows the relationship to flourish while honoring the individuality of the other person. Play things by the book instead of trying to break the rules or pressure others to conform to the way you want to do them. Your connection will deepen as a result. So an interesting message there, and I will say I didn't get a huge relationship vibe here, but if that is the case with that King of Wands in reverse, I feel like this is saying you're going to be in that mode anyway, where you're not really going to be pushing, like, okay, not that King of Wands in upright is pushy, but, they're a bit set in their ways. So even though they'll be open-hearted, right, they might have a tunnel vision for how to get to point A to point B. So could just be saying that you're letting that go again, going back with that acceptance theme. All right. To be fair, if this is around a relationship, the other person could be a bit confused. So to be fair, maybe you might have felt like you needed to take the lead in some ways, but it could just be saying, to relieve some of the pressure and let things flow a bit more naturally. All right. The prosperity message says at this time, you can expect a return on your investment. Whatever you have pursued, be it a dream you've long cherished, a skill you've cultivated, or a service you're called to, will come to you if you are willing to go by the book. You don't need to reinvent the wheel to be successful. Follow in the footsteps of others who have already achieved the things you're striving for. You can learn a lot by observing the structures that are already working. Your creative projects and commitment to prosperity are in alignment with the needs of the world, but impatience may tempt you to cut corners to get there more quickly. Stick with what you know works, and you will attract abundance. So interesting there when I mentioned the cutting corners theme. Usually if I saw a Seven of Swords in the spread somewhere, I'd feel like you were in a cutting corners type of mode, but I'm not necessarily picking up on that. But if that's the case, hopefully that resonated with you. All right. And lastly, we have a mudra for you guys. So the mudra you guys got for this month is the Kapittha mudra. There it is there. And the keyword for it is creativity. All right, there's the info on it if you want to pause it or take a screenshot. But under benefits, it says can be used as a tool for sexual healing, releasing guilt and shame around sexuality, increases sensitivity and receptivity, stimulates healthy libido, opens the connection between the pelvis and heart, expands feelings of devotion and loving kindness. So if that sounds like something you think would be beneficial for you guys, I will put the name of the mudra in the description video as always. We'll wrap up there and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.